to welcome Salman Raza, who is an MBA in corporate entrepreneurship, and he is going to speak about the impact of U.S. foreign policy in the Middle East. So please welcome Salman Raza.
Hey everyone, as Raja has introduced me, I'm an MBA student here at Lehigh, doing my concentration in entrepreneurship. But the topic that I'm going to speak about is very, very different, and as she's already mentioned, I'm going to speak about the impact of US foreign policy in Middle East and its repercussions on the Western world and, of course, the Middle East itself. So right now, the hot topic these days is the problem that's going on in Yemen with Saudi Arabia's attack on Yemen. But even before that, we've heard about the problems that are going on in countries like Syria, Iraq, Bahrain, etc. So many of you would be thinking that these problems have stemmed from the fighting between rival factions within Muslims, or fighting between Muslims and Jews, or Muslims and Christians, or Muslims with other communities of the Middle East, or it's a fight between Arabs and non-Arabs. It's a bit of everything, but more than that, it traces its roots that go as back in future about 100 years ago, where the Ottoman Empire broke down and new states were created. That was the time when countries like Syria, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain were created. So the creation of these states did not mean the transition to democracy or anything. These states were created as monarchies, and those monarchies were ruled by different clans, and that was the Arab culture that was prevalent at that time, and that culture dominated the ruling class, and it is still the same. Not much has changed in the past 100 years or so. So the first of the countries that was created was, the biggest, I'd say, was Saudi Arabia, that was created in 1932. And to tell you the background of how Saudi Arabia was created, there was two groups within Saudi Arabia who were fighting against the Ottoman Empire. They were both Hashemites. And they were big Arab clans that were fighting for Arab glory. But later on, when the Ottoman Empire finally broke down, the power went to the family of Abdulaziz, and it's still with the family of Abdulaziz, who were followers of the Wahhabi version of Islam, which was created by a person named Abdul Wahhab, and that was a very orthodox interpretation that involves suppression of women, accumulation of wealth, power for the elite, and that negated the very basis of the Islamic teachings. So that is what helped this family control the power, and they have had the control of power ever since 1932. Now, why is that problem becoming more and more severe with passage of time? So basically, the US wanted them in power because there was a reciprocal arrangement with them, whereby those powers were allowed to sell their oil in US dollars, and the promise was that those dollars would be reinvested into US Treasury, and then the return on the US Treasury would be applied towards development of those countries, and that was a reciprocal economy. The other very important aspect was the nexus between the economies and the manufacturers of ammunition and arms. And the promise was that whatever money would be earned through the sale of oil would go back and would be used to purchase arms. And that provided a reciprocal arrangement that worked very well for the West and for the Middle Eastern countries. There were monarchies, there was no democracy, so they did not care about what people think about these wars and everything. But now the situation is different. The media is free, there's social media, and slowly and gradually pro-democracy campaigns are increasing in all these countries. And because of these campaigns, the kingdoms are feeling the pressure that they will have to surrender their power to people. And that pressure has actually led them to create militant organizations that are fighting their proxy war in different countries. The other reason they feel threatened is the rise of Iran and the way it has excelled in technology and the way they have done phenomenally in terms of technological growth and political progress. So in the past 50 years or so, if you see, US and the Western powers have offered their unconditional support to the Arab regimes that were monarchies, and nothing was mentioned about democracy, or nobody was pressed to convert their form of government towards democracy, because this arrangement worked really well economically for both sides. But now this change is inevitable because of the freedom of information, because people are interacting with each other, and some countries have actually experienced significant changes in the past 2-3 years, such as Libya and Egypt. So it is a power struggle that's going on between the countries that want to consolidate their monarchy, and with the people of those countries who actually want democracy. So with that said, what should be the role of US policy in this, as opposed to what it has been so far? I think Barack Obama did a great job by engaging Iran and the other Western powers in a process whereby a nuclear deal is likely to be signed. And if that happens, the Iranian political power will become more significant. And that is another thing that is challenging the monarchies in the Middle East. Right now, the direction that US is going in is very positive, but the elections of 2016 are not very far. And many people within US are saying that the policies of Barack Obama will no longer continue if there is another government in 2016. And Jeff Bush, the brother of George Bush, and a Republican, a hardcore Republican, is now going to be the Republican candidate for the presidency, whereas Hillary Clinton is going to be the Democrat candidate for presidency. Now, if Hillary Clinton wins, she will be the first female head of state, and that is another thing that probably Republicans don't want. But besides that, the people of the United States should ask themselves that what has been the impact of Republican policies, especially the foreign policy, on the security of the United States itself, and how confident and how secure the Americans feel with the Republican foreign policy. What have they created? They have created monsters like ISIS, like Daesh, or whatever those organizations are, that are working under the patronage of the kingdoms that once, or maybe still are, the allies of the United States. So the shift that Barack Obama has taken is a very positive one, and that needs to be appreciated, that needs to be supported, and we need to think collectively, regardless of what nation we belong to, that to make the world a more peaceful place, we need to have continuity of policies. And if there has been a step in the right direction that is appreciated by the United Nations, by several European powers, that step should not be taken back. And it should be allowed to, this deal, especially the deal with Iran, should be allowed to take its course. And I know, and we all know and understand, that these deals and these arrangements take time to deliver the benefits that are intended. I really hope that in the coming elections, the American people would pay great importance to the fact that in the past 8 years, the Democratic Party, the Democrats have really delivered in terms of economy, in terms of improving the foreign relations, in terms of making America a better place for Americans and making the world more safe. So all these are the points that you should think about before going to the next elections to vote. Thank you very much.